In the ancient kingdom of Eldrakar, nestled between jagged mountains and mist-laden forests, there once lived a fierce dragon known as Draknar the Inferno. Draknar was no ordinary dragon. He was said to be as old as the mountains themselves, with scales harder than steel, eyes that blazed like molten lava, and wings that darkened the sky when he flew. Tales of Draknar's wrath and his fiery breath that could melt entire villages were well known across the land. He terrorized the people for centuries, claiming their wealth and livestock in exchange for their lives. But as time wore on, the people of Eldrakar grew weary of living in fear. The Council of the Brave. King Eirik of Eldrakar, a wise and battle-hardened ruler, gathered his best warriors, archers, and sorcerers. With his long silver hair flowing and his armor gleaming under the sunlight, he stood at the center of the grand hall, addressing his people. For too long, we have cowered in the shadows of Draknar's tyranny, he proclaimed. No more. Today, we stand together. We shall bring the fight to the beast himself. The warriors nodded in agreement, their eyes filled with determination. They forged weapons of enchanted steel, blessed by the kingdom's finest blacksmiths and mages. Swords and spears shimmered with enchantments to withstand the dragon's infernal flames. The sorcerers crafted potions and spells to protect the soldiers from fire, allowing them to withstand Draknar's scorching breath. They trained tirelessly, preparing for the deadly battle ahead. The march to the dragon's lair. The army of Eldrakar set out, their armor glinting as they crossed rivers, scaled cliffs, and journeyed through ancient forests thick with mist. As they approached Draknar's lair, an ominous cavern within the mountain of Hrothgar, the air grew heavy with smoke, and the scent of sulfur filled their lungs. The ground itself seemed to tremble, as if warning them of the beast that lay within. The entrance to the lair was flanked by jagged rocks and dark scorch marks. The brave warriors readied themselves as King Eirik raised his sword high, signaling the beginning of the siege. The sorcerers chanted protective spells, and archers knocked arrows coated in fire-resistant oils. Draknar, sensing their approach, let out a deep, earth-shaking roar that echoed through the mountains, sending a chill down the spine of even the bravest soldiers. The battle begins. Draknar emerged from his lair, a massive figure that seemed to blot out the sky. His wings stretched wide, creating gusts of wind that nearly knocked the soldiers off their feet. His scales shimmered like molten rock, and his jaws opened to reveal rows of razor-sharp teeth. With a powerful beat of his wings, he soared into the sky, unleashing a torrent of fire upon the soldiers below. The archers released their arrows, aiming for the dragon's underbelly, the only place where his scales were slightly softer. The arrow struck, but Draknar hardly noticed, his hide too tough for ordinary weapons. Enraged, he dived down, his claws tearing through the ranks of soldiers, sending shields and weapons flying. But the warriors of Eldrakar held their ground, forming a protective line to shield the king and sorcerers. The Sorcerer's Gambit. Seeing that brute strength alone would not prevail, the sorcerers prepared a spell to bind Draknar.